Mr. Inbetween is the greatest Australian TV show I've ever seen. In fact, it may very well be the greatest TV show of all time, irregardless of country of origin. And I'm not just saying that because it's an Aussie show and I'm biased, towards Aussie content. I'm really not, because most Aussie TV shows and movies are dog shit. Like, a lot of times the acting's no good, none of it's good. But this show was just on another fucking level. I mean, the writing, Scott Ryan, hats off to you, because the writing in this show is impeccable. It has Tarantino-esque dialogue. And as I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, the interactions between the characters in this feel so natural and so relatable. And the banter between, be it Ray and Gary, or Ray and Dave, or Ray and Freddie, or just any of the characters, Ray and his brother, it felt so real. It didn't even feel scripted at all. So that's a testament to the writing. But if you've never watched this show, you've got to check it out. If you like crime shows, if you like thrillers, if you like dark comedies, if you just fucking like watching moving pictures on an electronic screen, this show is for you. All right? It's that good. And I've seen a lot of great shows over the years. Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, the first few seasons of Walking Dead. And I mean only the first few seasons, all right? The rest are shit. I've seen a lot of great shows. And I've got to say, Mr. Inbetween has sort of captured my heart. And I think it's risen above all of them. And I can't praise it enough. All right? It has this dark grittiness, but at the same time, absolutely fucking hilarious, relatable moments that just work so well. And I don't know how Scott Ryan pulled it off. I don't know if I saw an interview with him and he was saying that he took from his real life experiences and he took from other movies and things that inspired him. And man, did he put it together well. And Nash Edgerton, the directing in this show is superb. It's so cinematic. It felt like a movie, pretty much the entire series. It's shot so well. And the action scenes are so tense. And the chase scenes, man, they're filming these chase scenes down dirt roads. And you think it would have been a low budget Aussie TV show. It would have looked like crap, like some fucking Blue Heelers action, scene. But it looked like a cinema level car chase. That's how good it was. Even the violence and all that, it felt all like practical effects. There was only one CGI shot in the entire series that I noticed, and that was when they hit the roo with the car. All right, that was it. But it's justified. I mean, how are they gonna, would have been hard to do that practically. I guess they would have had to throw some kind of giant fake kangaroo carcass at the car while it's speeding along. Probably too dangerous. Much easier to just CGI that fucking thing in post-editing. And, it looked a bit fake, but so what? I'm not going to ding a brilliant 10 out of 10 show because of that. It didn't take me out of it, all right? It was still a very dramatic, surprising moment that was very unexpected. Ray's relationships in this show felt really real as well, to me, from a man's perspective. The way he, courted Brooke Satchwell's character, Ali, felt very natural and very real. And her acting was great. And I've got to say, that girl, she looks as fresh-faced and as young as she did in Neighbours. She does not age. She looks fantastic for a 40-year-old woman. She looks like 25. So, hats off to you, Brooke. I don't know how you're staying so youthful, but fucking hell. And great performance. Your looks aside, great bloody performance, all right? The guy who played his brother, I think the actor's name's Nick Kassem or something like that. He was fucking phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, if you didn't know it, you'd think the guy actually had motor neurone disease, that debilitating illness. He played it so authentically, you know? And my favorite character, aside from Ray himself, is got to be Gary Thomas. He's his best mate since high school. Their relationship felt so real. It felt so natural and authentic. I honestly thought they were high school mates. You know, I had to look it up to see if they, you know, but in the interview, Scott Ryan said that they became friends through working on this show. But it felt like they really were high school buddies. It felt like there was a history behind every interaction that they had with each other. And so, and I'm supposed to believe Scott Ryan's an amateur actor who's only ever been in one other thing. Man, the guy's like fucking Juilliard trained. That's how it seemed with his acting chops in this show. But the hijinks that Gary gets up to, not just his entrepreneurial endeavors. Fuck, that's a mouthful. All right, with his little film production company, Bad Boy Productions. Hilarious, all right? But just the shit he gets into with having to get Ray to pretend the porno is his. And then the poor bastard can't, you know, catch a break. He's trying to have some private alone time. And his fucking Russian brother-in-law's got to come and interrupt it. And trying to appease his crazy Russian wife, his mail-order bride. I don't know where he found her. And then later on, when they're split up and he's trying to spy on her and he catches her with a lesbian lover, and then he gets stuck on the balcony because he's scared of heights and can't come down. And that's the other thing I liked about Ray's character. He's so loyal to his friends. He literally will drop anything he's doing to go and help Gary out. No matter how outlandish or ridiculous the situation Gary's gotten himself in, Ray will come and save the day. That's true mateship. That's brotherhood, man. And I like that aspect about Ray's character. That's what's so interesting about the way he is written and the way he was performed, all right, is the fact that he's very multi-layered, all right, and true to the title of the show, Mr. Inbetween. Ray is sort of, caught in between the different worlds of his life. The criminal world, where he's a hitman, you know, a gun for hire, and pretty much a general, cleaner-upper, a janitor of sorts for criminals and scumbags who need problems taken care of, all right? And he's also a single dad, a father. He's trying to raise his daughter right. He's trying to be protective of her and make sure she doesn't know anything about that dark, sinister, evil world that he's embroiled in. He wants to protect her from that darkness and be a good father to her. He's trying to look after his brother. And he's just in general trying to stay alive as well. And the way he juggles all of that, while at the same time having an actual moral code. He has a moral code. He doesn't hurt children. He doesn't hurt women. He only hurts scumbags. That's why I found his character very reminiscent, in a way, of Chopper Read, the real life, larger-than-life character in Australian criminal underworld history. Chopper Read was sort of a similar guy, in a sense. He was caught in the criminal life as well, and was a standover man, you know, and did things like that. But he only really hurt scumbags. He wouldn't hurt women or children, and he would only hurt, you know, drug dealers, criminals, bullies, just pricks in general. And it's the same with Ray. He has a code. He's not going to hurt someone who's innocent. Only people who, the people he accepts contracts on are all scumbags themselves. Be they rapists or criminals or murderers themselves, or, you know, child abusers. Ray's got a real soft spot for fucking up child abusers, and man, is it cathartic watching him do it. Can't we all relate watching Ray take out the trash and literally punish these scumbags in a way that the legal system just can't do and won't do? All right. It's very satisfying in that aspect, watching Ray deal with the absolute scum of the world. And yeah, I love that I love that sort of moral center he has. He's very rough around the edges. He's done some detestable things, but in his heart, he believes he only did it to people who deserved it. He doesn't believe he's ever hurt someone who didn't deserve it. That's why he was so conflicted when he found out he killed the wrong guy in the first season, in those first few episodes. And to Freddy, who doesn't have that moral center, who turns out to be a fucking backstabbing weasel bastard, right? The guy who runs the Sefton Playhouse there. To Freddy, it was no big deal. Hey, it was just a mistake. We got the wrong guy. Sorry. I'll be more careful next time. But to Ray, you could see it really upset him. And that's why he gave the money to the guy's widow, to help the family out. Because Ray is a stand-up guy. He's not evil. And that's what I like about him. That's why he's relatable. If his character was written as being evil, he wouldn't have been relatable, and I wouldn't have enjoyed the show. I wouldn't have been able to get into it. I would have wished Ray to get what's coming to him, but you don't in the show. Because Ray turns out to be a brave, courageous, loyal dude who, is trying to make ends meet in a brutal, rough, dark underbelly of society. But while he's trying to keep his soul intact while he's doing it, And the great juxtaposition in the very first episode, where he knocks that guy over the railings, that degenerate gambler guy, which yes, that did feel a bit excessive, right? Maybe Ray felt a bit bad about that, but we don't know. That guy could have been a total scumbag that he did it to. We didn't get to see that guy's backstory. He came across as a bit of a Weasley prick. Not saying he deserved to get fucking hauled over the edge of those stairs there, which looked like it killed him. But anyway, the juxtaposition of that brutal violence he did to another human being, to then him being in the shower and saving the life of that little ladybug, like he wouldn't hurt a fly, pretty much, an insect, That was a very interesting way to introduce his character. So it's brilliant filmmaking. I keep saying filmmaking, even though it's a TV show, because they feel like mini films. That's how well done they are. And it's great that it was set in Sydney, my hometown. I saw a lot of, recognizable places. And that's great, because Sydney is hardly ever in Aussie TV shows. Everything's filmed fucking in Melbourne. They've really lured the small screen industry of Australia down to Melbourne, and hardly anything's filmed in Sydney anymore. So it was great to see Sydney in all its glory, because I love my hometown. It's a great place, right? And I can't sing the praises of this show enough. And just the writing was so fantastic, just the banter. I said Tarantino-esque. It really was. All right, to find them talking about sort of shit that was unrelated to the direct plot. That's what I always feel is a Tarantino-style dialogue, where they're just talking about mundane, everyday shit that you would talk with your mates with, or with other people with, in a bantery casual way. And it's not directly linked to the plot, but it does unravel the characters and reveal more about the characters and their psyche. That's what I feel is Tarantino-style dialogue, and this had it in spades. And I love the fact that so many of their conversations in this show, just their general conversations, got into such philosophical and interesting topics. Stuff you would actually talk about with your mates, but it was delivered in such a, casual Australianness that made it so relatable. But they're talking about the, meaning of life, the origins of the universe, whether there's a god, whether there's aliens out there, or whether the universe is completely empty or not. And that conversation with Gary that devolved into a discussion about what kind of aliens they'd be willing to sleep with was fucking hilarious, but such a realistic conversation. That's the way conversations will just flow from one topic into another. Sometimes they'll go into absurdity, but that's how mates talk. And it felt so damn authentic. I loved that, and even the way Ray would explain the nature of violence and how sometimes it is necessary to solve a problem when all other options are exhausted. With his that stupid guy in his anger management class, who refused to accept the idea that violence was ever justified. And Ray had to explain to him, well, sometimes in self-defense, sometimes, like in World War II, we couldn't sit down and have a tea party with the Nazis and hash it out. They had to use violence to solve the conflict. And the guy was speechless. He had nothing. And Ray even convinced the other people in the therapy session. It's just brilliant writing. I feel like we were all identifying with Ray and agreeing with him in most of the time. Well, I found that I was pretty much agreeing with Ray on all these topics. Another reason why I love this character and just love the show in general. And the way he justified beating up that scumbag who knocked his daughter's ice cream over. And the way he explained that he was doing society a favor by doing that, because the guy will hesitate and think twice about being an asshole to other random people. And the way he explained it, I was convinced. I'm like, yeah, it was justified. You actually were doing the world a favor, Ray. Thank you. And he can, it's just such brilliant writing that he was able to, justify his actions in beating up that guy. And it made sense. Because Ray doesn't let assholes get away with being assholes. And by doing that, he stops the assholes from continuing to be assholes to other people. Because these pricks get away with it because no one stands up to them. And Ray's the ultimate anti-bully. And that's why his character is so enjoyable. But I mean, all the interactions and sequences in this show are just so damn enjoyable and entertaining and tense and hilarious, all at the same time. Be it that whole episode where he's got to track down his daughter's missing friend. That was a brilliant episode. It was just tense the entire time as him and Gary were tracking her down. And then how he dealt with the kidnappers at the end was just like a cherry on top. It was a perfect finale for that episode. It just all the sequences are brilliant in this show. They're so well put together and flow so naturally and so well as part of the interweaving storyline that you can almost jump into any episode and enjoy it as a standalone, even though there's an overarching story weaving it all together. But that's how good every bloody moment in this show is. I mean, the conversation as Ray is being driven up to the Blue Mountains by Dave, brilliantly played by Matt Nable. Now that guy, I need to sing his praises too. That guy is an actor from a rugby league player. You wouldn't think he'd have an acting ability, but the guy stepped right into TV and film roles, and he's fucking phenomenal. He's a great actor. Really good at playing intense, sort of, tough, menacing characters. Very intimidating face he's got, and it worked well in this show. And I loved seeing their interactions and their conversation about his kid that he was about to have, Dave's character, and what he was going to name it. Their whole conversation about the names and the fact that he said Quentin was a pussy sort of not a masculine name, I thought was hilarious. At first I thought that might have been a subtle reference to Tarantino as in Quentin, but then on rewatching the first season, I realized he was probably sour towards that name, Ray that is, because that's his ex-wife's new husband's name. Great little detail that I never noticed the first time watching, and I'm sure a lot of you probably didn't notice that either. That's why he didn't like the name Quentin very much at all, And so that made sense. Such a great little tie-in, little subtleties of this show. It's so multi-layered. I reckon I could watch this show 10 times and I'll find with each watch through new little details. It's that intricate, the writing. Brilliant. Just so well done. All the acting across the board, even from the small cameo roles, was fantastic. What's his name? The guy who played Davros was great. That actor. His name escapes me. Firas Durrani, that's his name. He was great in his small role. The guy who played Dave's, in that Blue Mountains episode where they were driving Ray up to kill him, right? The guy who played Dave's sidekick, that real stupid guy who got out of the car and then their car got stolen, even he was great in those few episodes he was in. And Ray, talk about fucking outsmarting everybody. by getting him to open a safe that had been booby-trapped. And then you got the reveal that Ray was a war veteran, and it all made sense. And I got to mention, there's a lot of sweetness to this show as well. Ray's interactions with his daughter, I always found them very endearing, especially the efforts he went to make her believe that unicorns were real, just because he saw that when he was telling her Santa wasn't real and the Easter Bunny wasn't real, he could see he was breaking her heart. And then when she asked about unicorns, you could see they had this hope in her eyes that, please, Daddy, don't let that be fake as well. And he couldn't break her heart, you know? So he told her they were real. And then he went to such an effort to actually dress up a real life horse, and his friends helped out. That was great. That's why there's a lot of warmth to this show as well. And in the last season, when that dickhead guy murdered that couple that was helping Ray was genuinely moved by these people helping him out after he had the accident. You could see he actually, it felt like he couldn't believe their generosity and the fact that they cared so much about strangers. He really appreciated it. And then that prick to just come out and kill them, murder them in cold blood, it really shocked Ray and upset him. And he disposed of the bodies, but you could see it had broken him. That's why he left the game, the business, not just because his new girlfriend had passed away, who he was falling for, but I feel like his soul was ripped out by the murder of those two innocent, kind-hearted old people, those virtuous people. And it really hurt him. That scene where he was looking at the sunset and you could feel his heart breaking about the life he was living and that he wanted to get out of that life. That was a very poignant scene. Poignant. Always love that word. And hate the way it's spelt, but love the word. And I just found that scene very moving. And I found the show very moving in many scenes. Scenes with his brother, when he had to take care of his brother to pretty much end his brother's suffering. That was hard to watch, but that was also moving. Ray really did care about people, and he was a loyal guy. The way his father, who he really did not care for, but the way he showed love to his father when his father started losing his mind with dementia, that also was very moving. Just fantastic acting and writing. I can't say it enough. And just the way the situations Ray and his friends got himself into. I mean, even the high school reunion, that entire sequence was brilliant and hilarious, and I just love the show. And that ending, what can be said about that ending? Well, a lot can be said about it, but first I'm going to mention my other favorite segments in this show was the scenes where Ray's in therapy, the anger management therapy. Fuck, that was hilarious. When his first session, when he just straight out called, I love that Ray has no filter and he's not afraid of any man. He's not intimidated by anybody. All right, and when he just tells those guys, I'm in the wrong session because I don't want to be with a bunch of scumbag kid bashers and woman bashers. Fantastic. So good. And when he flashes that smile at those guys, at any guys in general, anytime you see Ray's smile, when he's baring his teeth like a fucking lion that's about to pounce, you know you're in trouble. And that ties into the ending. The ending of the show was one of the most tense sequences I've ever watched, be it in any movie or any TV series. That whole sequence when he's a cabbie and he picks up those guys in the rain. They couldn't have picked a better setting to film it in as well, for the you know, the vibe and the atmosphere, to build that tension, being in the rain and at night time, and Ray's in the cab and the lighting was just perfect. And those two little morons, those fools who have no idea whose cab they got into, and starting to talk shit about murdering somebody, like they thought they were scaring Ray. And when Ray drove them out there and they thought that they were getting him to drive them to a place where, you know, that was secluded, that they could take advantage of him and get one over on him. But really, Ray was driving them out there to fucking fix these pricks up. And that face he gives them at the end when they said, yeah, I think someone's going to die out here. And the look he's giving them, which said everything without any dialogue, he said everything, which was pretty much, yeah, someone is going to die out here. and it's going to be you two. And he gave him that look, and then the perfect ending, the greatest ending to a TV series, and one of the best endings to anything I've ever seen, where he looked at the guy in the back seat, looked at the guy in the front seat, and then gave us a quick glance. The audience, he acknowledged us, that we had come along for this 26 episode ride. And then it cut to black with the words "run," and then that song played. Fucking perfection. Maestro level filmmaking, TV show making, and just all around brilliance. I love this show. If you haven't watched it, watch it. If you listen to this whole review without watching it, I'm sorry I spoilt it, but there's a warning in the title of the video for a reason, all right? So don't listen to this. There's no point telling you this now if you've come this far, all right? But if you enjoyed this show as much as I did, let me know in the comments. Tell me any nuances, details, or other brilliant little Easter eggs or elements of the show that you picked up that I maybe missed, all right? Let's share them in the comment section. Let's just share the love of this show. And if you're one of these rare people who I'll never understand that didn't like this show, feel free to let me know in the comment section, all right? Just please explain yourself if you didn't like this show. Because as far as I'm concerned, it was a 10 out of 10. It's fucking brilliant. Best Aussie show I've ever seen and probably ever will see. But I'm looking forward to anything coming from the pen of Scott Ryan, all right? Anything this guy writes, I want to watch moving forward. So I hope he churns out a lot more shows and movies, and I hope he stars in more things too, because I think he's a fantastic fucking actor. Be interesting to see what happens to him if he actually cracks into Hollywood. I'd be fascinated to watch that. And again, Nash Edgerton, brilliant directing. The whole cast, hats off to all of you. You are all brilliant. Not that any of you will ever listen to or watch this review, but if you do, in some kind of alternate universe, thank you for entertaining me for 26 episodes of brilliance. I love this show. 10 out of 10. Absolute fucking masterpiece. And on that note, I'll end this review. So thanks for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. I haven't made a video in ages, but it's good to be back and to be talking about something that I actually loved for once, instead of ranting about something that was shit, like a lot of movies and actually TV shows. A lot of shows are good now, but movies are dog shit. A lot of them are. So the rare good one is stands out like a diamond in the rough. Anyway, I guess fellow fans of Mr. Inbetween, thanks for listening. Take care, be good, and I'll see you later.